news. I have stuff to talk about. Your chair is horrible. To do the hula. Just do that. Nope.
His exercise chair.
Yeah.
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Is that a live picture?
That is a live
Hey, we are on live.
We are on live.
Yes,
and it's
we
even
are.
a new date. It's not June 18th anymore.
It's been a while.
It has been over a month.
Yes. I had some family business, but yeah, this is Kaz Kwiatkowski, city councilman, and my good friend
Bob. I don't know. I'm DJ. They all know me.
Yes, they do.
Your audience.
It's amazing. I feel like I've been away for a long time.
You have been. It was June 18th was the last time you were on, and I wasn't even here for that. I missed like the time before.
Well, I've been all over this country too.
I didn't go very far. I went to Gettysburg for my birthday for July. It was actually very interesting. There's a lot of monuments and a lot of stuff to see down there.
I was at the other Civil War site.
The other Civil War site.
On the Western campaign.
Oh, yeah?
In Mississippi, actually.
Mississippi, wow.
Yeah, one of my journeys. I saw a lot of cities this last month.
You crossed over the great Mississippi.
No, I didn't actually. No, Mississippi, I never crossed it. I was in the state. So.
Oh, I thought you'd go canoeing.
I was close to the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Literally yards away.
Yards.
It's a big river.
It's a big river. That's what they say.
Nothing like Lake Erie, though.
No.
Imagine being on a flight and running into people from Erie. That's amazing, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned a lot of things while I was gone. But
Really? Well,
yeah.
You can fill us in. Why don't you lay down the ground rules first, and then you can...
Oh, the ground rules are simple. You can call in about anything, any subject, anything at all you like to talk about. Feel free to call. And the only thing we ask is that you keep it in the bounds of good taste. That's it.
Oh,
Outside of that, you can complain about anything you want or compliment. Yeah, just so you know, we've been gone for so long. It's going to take a while, I think, to build it back up again.
yeah, we better build up.
Yeah, we'll be okay though.
I got stuff to talk about.
Go ahead.
I could start if you want. Number one, I turned 40 on July 3rd.
What does that mean?
That means it's all downhill from here.
That's true. You're not a member of the. You will never be in
30-something.
the Erie Reader.
Oh, Erie Reader.
You can't make that under 40.
I don't think I was even close.
Yeah, but even if you look at that.
Just people dancing. I wish we had a camera out there. Dude's dancing crazy.
Helen, I'll tell you, where's he for Celebrate Erie?
Oh, I don't know. But speaking of Celebrate Erie, it looks like we're probably going to be doing the festival. Cat, more than likely, it's like 95% sure, in my mind at least, that we're going to be doing Celebrate Erie. I just had a meeting with the accounting people, and
Looks like it's going to happen.
I think we're going to be able to come to an agreement, and I think we're going to be there.
What else are you doing? Roaring the Shore?
We're doing Roar on the Shore this week, Thursday and Friday and Saturday. We will be down here in almost the same spot as Celebrate Erie. So we're doing Roar on the Shore. Unfortunately, we won't be doing Blues and Jazz this year because they were not able to come up with the funding to have us there.
One of the bad, what do you call it? One of the consequences of city cutting your funding.
Yeah, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
How about
seriously,
the other motorcycle event? You didn't do that. There's like one going on this week too.
I don't know anything. I just know Roar on the Shore.
One thing about Erie, you can, if you're bored, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried getting downtown here. It's like everything's.
Well, during that festival, but I can't look at it negatively at all. I mean, the fact that like $30 to $40 million of money goes through the city's hands through this festival. So I'm all for this festival coming.
How about this?
A phone call.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Kaz. Welcome back.
Oh, it feels good to be back. I'm
Refreshed.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know where I am right now.
Where are you?
I could be like, another part of the country.
Still getting over jet lag or something like that.
Well, it's just, when you're away, it's amazing how you just kind of like forget what you were you're trying to get all the stuff you forgot back, back on track again. But
And get reoriented.
that's what happens when your kids live out of town.
Wow.
Yeah, all my kids live out of town, so it's you get between my wife's job and other things. It's kind of like we have to squeeze it in when we can.
Yeah. What city were you in Mississippi?
I was in Hattiesburg,
Oh, southern Mississippi.
right, and then Gulfport. I flew into Gulfport. Interesting town after the Katrina. They're still in the process of rebuilding. Then we took a little side trip to New Orleans too, and every time you go there, it's like a little bit more is coming back.
Yeah.
But that hurricane sure made a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I don't think people in this country realize that. Here we're talking about all the aid we give to, and here we got cities like Gulfport and New Orleans
Yeah.
that were beaten down heavily during Katrina.
Yeah.
They still won't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's tough.
So how you been doing? Good?
Yeah. Did you hear that proposed intermodal center is now being attracted by people in Albion? They're thinking of putting it up because they have a lot of rail space, rails that are still there that haven't been used.
Does Albion want it really?
Yeah, well, at least one of their council people or representatives wants it because they have a lot of open area that's close to I-90, and
Yeah, I'd like to see it still come to
although it's far from the lake.
Yeah, I'd love to have it down here in the city. I've made no bones about it. I think, if they could make it work, I'd love to see it here. We could use the economic boom from that.
Is anyone in the city looking into it, or?
Well, I don't think they proposed it yet. There really hasn't. I mean, I've made my statement publicly. I think a couple of legislators have. Nobody formally has made an application, but I think the process has been so quiet, and nobody knows. All you hear is, well, it can't work here, it can't work there, and nobody. So it's going to take quite an impetus to get it to. To move somewhere, and I'd like to see it come here.
It's a bad word that people throw out too often.
What's that?
Can't.
Well, can't's a word that should be thrown out of the.
Can't is more like won't.
Yeah. Well, in the Army, you're not allowed to use the word can't. It's impossible. The impossible hasn't happened yet.
Right.
You make it happen the best way you can. Yeah, it won't be easy, but where would you like to see it?
Yeah, I'd like to see it in the city, but if they're not working on something.
Well, the trouble is, it's in the hands of that development group that doesn't seem to want to, look at area. And I think, the city has hit some pretty rough times over the years. We have not benefited from the casino. We have not benefited from a lot of projects, and we could. We are I hate to use the term center of the universe here, but we are. And, we absorb all the problems, the tax exempt problems, the poverty, all that. It's time that somebody gave us a little jump start. And I'm going to try as hard as I can to get that project here.
You're saying that it's up to John Elliott's group to take the initiative?
Well, he's the one. Well, actually, he's the one running it. But somebody, and I'm going to start up shortly here, has to start a coordinated effort, saying, "Hey, we'd like to be in the ball game." Kind of forcing their hand to study it. They said they're looking at other sites. I'd like to know. No one's ever told me why the city is a bad site. What can we do to make it a good site, or can it be?
Yeah.
I just tried to say that there were too many intersections in the city.
I don't know. From what I understand, it'd only be one. Downing, I think, might be the only one affected.
Yeah.
And the state seemed like they were willing to do all these things in Harbor Creek. Maybe they'd build a small bridge or underpass at Downing, We don't know, but, let's find out. I mean, that's the trouble. There's so much unsurety in this project. We have a director that on one point insulted the public because people disagreed with him, then took his letter off the air, off the website, so nobody knows, is it... We have to start thinking about what's best for the area. And if one area don't want it, then you know what? Look at another area.
Yeah, that one lady said that they needed a 2-mile uninterrupted stretch where...
Maybe that's the ultimate, but is that necessary? I always ask the question, I'd like to have a Lamborghini, but what will my Honda do, or my Chevy? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Everybody wants the ultimate, but what if it... Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see a 12,000-seat stadium in the center of the city. So we got a 6,000. Are we happy? Sure we are.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a 2-mile long train would be the maximum length of a train that would stop there.
Yeah, nobody's really seen the report that I know of. I'd like to see, is that written in stone you need 2 miles, or is that the preferred the ultimate, what you'd like to see, Everybody likes to have the ultimate, but sometimes you can't have it.
Yeah, I don't know if Albion has that 2-mile long stretch. Maybe they do.
Think about this. Lately, they've been building Major League Baseball parks in the inner cities, correct?
Yeah.
In the old days, they would have gutted land and everything to make it happen. Now they're kind of retrofitting them with as little impact as possible, much like we did our ballpark, retrofitting them. I mean, would you like to have 3 times as much land? Sure, but it's not going to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember, they wanted to move 10th Street between Holland and French a little bit south so they would have a longer third base line.
Yeah, but not only that, it would have stretched the ball. It would have made the ballpark stretch a little bit so that you would have had maybe 2 upper decks all the way around. I mean, 2 decks completely around.
Was that in somebody's plans? I didn't know that.
Well, they had to retrofit the ballpark, so what happens, you got along the right field line, you got 2 decks. I mean, two tiers of seating, and on the third base side, you have one big grandstand like. So it's kind of like, and then you got no seats behind home plate continually.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an abnormality in ballparks, but it's strange. I was out of town reading out of town newspapers, same problems about acquiring land and the same arguments about where they want to put different developments. So nothing changes from geography may change, but not the politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for that project, but I think I'd like to see it in the city.
Yeah, sure, but if they're not going to do something, if Albion got it, it'd be better than nothing.
Well, we don't know if they want it yet because you haven't.
We heard one guy talk.
Yep. Hey, you remember what happened with? It's interesting, even the diversity of opinion on that potato chip factory, how that almost went down the tube.
Yeah, that took some. At least they're going to carry through on that now.
There was an argument made, and in a way you can see it. In Pennsylvania, you have so many municipalities that it's hard to, for somebody coming in. Like sometimes when you go in the South, they don't have all these townships and everything. You either have the city or the county, so it's a lot easier to get something done. Where here you got to fight, the borough, the township, and
Yeah,
there are a few different legislative bodies to get through.
right, and everybody's got their own priorities. It's like, in the city they always tell us we got to do what's right for the area, but we also have to keep in mind we represent our taxpayers.
Well, maybe I should get off and let someone else talk. I'd like to hear from Mr. Wagner again. He's always interesting.
Well, I've been in contact with him, and we're trying to work out a date, and he probably will come on again. We always got a third seat if we need it.
Always like to hear him call in. He always has something interesting.
Yeah, I've been talking to him, and if I can swing it, his schedule, I think he'd be willing to come on again.
Oh, good. Well, hope he calls in. Thanks, Kaz. Have a good day.
Hey, thanks for calling. I didn't want to be alone today. Thanks to DJ,
What? You're still alone.
yeah, no, you're okay. Hey, thank you very much. But, that's the one thing, wherever you travel, you see the same problems.
Yeah.
There's always this discussion about land being taken or...
So bigger's not necessarily in terms of
No.
cities.
In fact, when I was in Allentown, and you remember the cribs we're trying to get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they already have one.
Oh, yeah.
They're building a 8,500 seat arena, couple of office buildings, a hotel,
Yeah.
convention center. It's a nice project. I'll be touring it in about a month and a half.
Nice.
I'm gonna go down there and take a look at it. But what's interesting is their mayor's getting blasted from the suburbs because they view him as being a thief. He's taking things back in the city.
Oh, yeah.
And he reminded them that these things were in the city one time and you stole them.
Yeah. I mean, cities where everything usually starts, everything spreads out from the city. It's not the opposite.
Right. So he reminded them, he said, I represent the citizens of Allentown, not the township.
Yeah.
Or the county.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting, but he has brought new development in.
Yeah.
And this is why when you look at our project, and I know people got mixed opinions, but if you got a guy like Mr. Scott who wants to build,
Yeah.
and he's still going to use his own money to some degree,
Right.
that's what you want to see.
Yeah. You'd like to see some progress.
You want to see some, new taxes. I agree with the mayor on this. Whatever we put down there has to be taxable to a
Right.
large degree. We
Right.
got a lot of freebie stuff. It's time that people ask me who's going to pay for all this stuff. Well, it's the taxpayers. And guess what? There's getting fewer and fewer. Look at the census.
Yeah.
Fewer and fewer, plus the level of income has gone down, on a per capita basis. That can't continue.
Right. Are we in a decline? Are we losing?
Well, I think
again?
all big cities are losing population. Allentown is one of the exceptions, and they're kind of like a weird animal because of the people from New York and Philadelphia that are moving there. But most of the big cities, look around, Cleveland, and if they're not holding steady or slight gains, they're losing.
Yeah.
The golden days of the city, look at Detroit in decline. Are we that bad? No, but we used to be 130,000. Now we're just a little bit over that.
Right.
Over 100,000. So,
Didn't we dip to under 90 at some point? Did we not? Or have we always been over 100?
Since we cracked 100, we've always been there.
Okay.
But like when I was a young man, it was probably in the 50s, it was 130, almost 135,000 maybe.
Wow.
But you could see what happened. People have moved out to the suburbs, but...
Well, we could bring more people back in if we show some progress and some willingness to
What
change.
you got to do, though, is the county itself, which includes the city, has not grown in 20 or 30 years.
Really?
Not greatly. It's still locked at its figure of 280,000. And, you think, you used to say, that's why numbers can lie. Erie was the third largest city.
Yeah.
It's great. Allentown passed us. But what they don't tell you is Allentown has a metropolitan area of 800,000, and we got 280,000. So you do the math, and if you're a business person, right?
Yeah.
Where do you come? and what quality of, it would be easy, it's easy for people to look out at Peach Street and say, man, things are great, But
Yeah.
Peach Street was built for tourism, too,
Yeah.
not for the population of Erie County.
Right.
There's things out there that probably wouldn't happen. The hotels are an example.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's all hotels. It's a convenient place to put a hotel right on Route 90. People get off at 90, they go to a hotel.
What's interesting, now, I was looking at how our casino, it was getting ripped in the newspaper while I was gone.
Really?
Yeah, people were cutting it up, and I don't know, it's you read in the paper now, in New Jersey's closing some of their casinos in Atlantic City.
Really?
Trump Plaza's closing, a couple other ones. Well, what's happening, you put 3 in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
right? You got 1 up in the Poconos, you got 1 in Bethlehem, 1 in Harrisburg. Now, people aren't going to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
and it's the same thing here in Erie. You got casinos in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
You got the one up at the Indian Reservation. You got them south of us. They're talking about putting another one south of us. And, you look and you wonder, Now I go to Mississippi, and starting 10 miles out of town, there was a sign almost every half a mile advertising the payouts, the entertainment that was coming in. It might be the only casino maybe in the state. Maybe there's only a couple.
Yeah.
That tells you the difference. You don't have the competition that's...
Yeah.
So, people go down there, they must be doing well.
Yeah. Well, I went down to Alabama. I went in after I was in there for 10 minutes. I walked out with $300 extra. So, yeah, there's some casinos down there doing better than I did locally.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm no gambler. I've said this for a long time.
Yeah.
I did go to the horse track in Minneapolis. I was surprised. I was... They were handicapped in such a way that I wasn't going to get rich, but I didn't lose money.
Yeah.
And I had a nice time. So
Yeah.
I'm going, that's really what it is all about for the average person.
Yeah, it really is.
I didn't come out of there with like $200 in my pocket,
Yeah.
but I had about 10 when I left, which, to me was great,
Hey, if you can go in with a couple $100 and walk out and you only lost a few dollars, then you had entertainment
And had a
it's
good time.
worth it. I can't say that about some of the casinos I've been in, but some of them I've walked in with $10 and I've walked out with $10 and I was there for 2 hours. I had fun. And if there's entertainment, then that's what it's about. I can't say that for some certain casinos whose names I won't mention.
Yeah, it's
And I'm not a big gambler. I just go in to see like blinking lights and things moving and take that chance. But I don't go in all the time. Ever since this casino opened, I cut back a lot.
Really?
They taught me a lesson.
well, I'm not, like I say, I'm not a gambler. And, some people like it, and that's great,
I think the worst I do now is the lottery. I play the lottery. Why not?
Should be in Conneaut. That's where they're winning, right?
Really? Is that where they're all
A couple of big payouts in Ohio, and they
Well, I do get my tickets in Ohio, so okay, I'll be okay.
one store they'd like to.
Nice.
That's when you're gone. You lose all track of your news and.
Oh, sure. I don't pay attention to the news when I'm here, so I don't know what's going on.
The one thing
at
I
all.
did notice, and I noticed it today, not just a city problem. Our guys I see are out there doing it. Why do they wait till July to stripe the highways?
Yeah.
Is it time for the snow to come, or?
I don't know.
I traveled the length and breadth of this fine country, and not all of it, but
Yeah.
the stripes are not there. I'm going. Now they're just getting around to it. Amazing.
I don't know. They're talking about making highways out of some recycled material and building like computers and stuff into them. So like the highways can light up and the lines can be lit and they're like smart.
So we
and they
won't
talk
have to paint
each
them
other.
then?
We won't have to paint them because they'll all just be like these little modules that you could replace. And it would really do good for the economy, and it would do great for everybody out there driving because you don't have to paint them. You can always see the lines. They could display messages on the highway. I read a whole article on it, and it's
Really?
really, really interesting.
Well, they're talking about smart vehicles and all.
Yeah. The cars would be able to communicate with the road. Depending on the conditions, it could help the car drive safer in those conditions. And they're saying it would open up a lot of jobs. There'd be so many people to build these new highways because they're basically in factories building modules, and then they ship them off, put them together, and then they lay them out as highways, and they're actually smart highways.
Have you ever? The other day, I had to come back from Pittsburgh, middle of the night.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
No.
Imagine being a tourist.
Yeah.
These signs on the highway are terrible.
They are. They're not reflective.
Oh my God! You come up on the Meadville exit, which is a major exit.
Yes.
You got Conneaut, Meadville.
Yeah.
right?
I have noticed that in other places.
If you don't have a GPS, I've driven it many times, but if I'm coming in from out of town and I'm looking at these signs, I'm going, Ethel.
I have noticed that, and I thought it was just in the wintertime, but I've noticed now all year round there's no reflectivity on the signs, and I don't understand why I can't see the
Well, they're
signs.
not as bad on the east side of the state.
Really?
I won't go into that. But, I mean, I'm amazed that on I-90 and I-79, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at them, it's like, especially after a rainstorm, try to figure them out.
Yep. I do a lot of night driving, and that I do notice. Not when you asked if I was coming back from Pittsburgh and saw it, no. But I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty late, and it was weird lighting. You know, the moon wasn't out real great.
Yeah,
And I'm coming back going, you know, thank God I know this road.
well, yeah, and you turn the high beams on, and it doesn't help. Usually you think it's not enough light, and then you flick on the high beams, and it's just as bad. We need new signs.
We do. I mean, I'm amazed that they haven't, you know. But what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Complain to PennDOT? You know.
No. Nobody wants to hear me complain, so I don't complain anymore.
But yeah, that's my like pet peeve today.
The pet peeve.
Stripes on the road and
Yeah. We need smart highways, I'm telling you. Then we could have smart signs, smart cars. Everything would be smarter than us. Our phones. My phone is smarter than I am.
that's true.
Outside of that, I got
any
nothing.
other good news you got?
I got nothing.
You told me you had a plethora of stuff today.
I ran out. I said everything I meant to say. Blues and Jazz, Celebrate Erie, Roar on the Shore, all those festivals are coming up. If anybody's interested, if you would like to see some motorcycles up close, Roar on the Shore is this weekend. And if you look for me, I'll be down there Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night filming the main stage, which should be out here on State Street.
Steppenwolf?
Steppenwolf is going to be here, I'm going to say, I think it was Thursday night?
I saw him the first time.
Friday night. I don't remember, but I know they're going to be here.
You probably weren't born.
No.
I'm guessing the first time he was in Erie, you probably weren't born.
Probably not. The first time I was in Erie was 1997 or 1998.
This goes back 20-some years
Yeah,
before
wow.
that. Played at Gannon.
Well, they're coming back.
They came in late, too.
Yeah,
Typical Erie, you know, bad weather. And
yeah.
I don't think even Ronnie was there. But yeah, he was here before. I don't think he remembers, but
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't have much going on. I mean, Cat is still alive and kicking, so obviously I'm still here.
yeah, it was amazing. We just saw an article in the paper about all the changes, which you and I have announced for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm amazed that when I was up there on a couple of issues, people are still confused. But you know, cable industry itself is going through a lot of changes.
Well, it seems to be. Not always for the better, but hopefully somehow it'll all work out and prices will stop going up and people will get more services and everybody will be happy. That's how it is in my perfect little world.
You believe in the tooth fairy, don't you?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
No, I gave up on that. I try to be an optimist. It's very difficult sometimes, but there are good things going on in the world. It's not right now, but the sun is shining somewhere.
Well, there are good things going on.
So be positive.
I tell you, on all my tours, our zoo is still number one.
I like ours.
Compared to a lot of them, yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know, I went to like I say, I went to a few places, you know, looking around, but
Yeah.
it's, we measure up well.
I think the only thing we're missing is like a polar bear exhibit where you can walk up to the glass and see the polar bears. That's all I would want to add to
Do
this.
we have a polar bear anywhere?
Do we even still have polar bears?
I don't know.
I haven't been in a long
They're
time.
doing a, you know, I got to make a point to go up there because they're doing this big renovation.
Yeah? Oh.
I think all the tiger and bear moats have been, I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of changing it.
I'm going to have to get over there and find out then.
I think if we if we had one, and I think the zoo knows that too, with the tigers and stuff, we didn't have a lot of room for them to run like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I noticed that, a couple of them I was in, they had a little bit more room, but not the volume of animals we had either,
Yeah.
which is, very impressive.
Wow. They could have a lot more room to run if they just open the cages every once in a while, just let them kind of roam around out in the main area.
No, over the years, there's been talk about, didn't get very far, about
Yeah.
maybe acquiring the golf course and all that, But they do a good job up there. It's come a long ways.
Does the zoo, now who owns that golf course behind the zoo?
That's a city.
That is still the city's? We still own that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a municipal course.
Municipal course.
It's actually very successful for the young kids. That's why they keep it. When we had three at one time. We sold one course, but it's a 9-hole. But
Yeah.
no doubt, the zoo probably could use more land, but I don't know if they want it. But
Well, I mean, we already can't have it open 3 months out of the year, so if we had more land, maybe we'd have more attractions and we'd be able to have it open more often. I don't know. Might be nice.
you didn't do a show up there with the new showing the new renovations or anything.
No, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't been in a while. I don't get out as
Monkey
much
should
as
go
I
up
should. No, we don't talk.
He may not come back out,
I
right?
might not come back out.
That's true. I remember they were talking like in Erie about an aquarium, and I did visit one.
Oh, yeah?
But aquariums are, when you look at them, they're quite huge.
Oh, yeah, I went to the Atlanta, Georgia, the Georgia Aquarium. Huge. It was amazing.
And the one in New Orleans is pretty big, and
Yeah.
there's a couple more that, like even in Minneapolis, they have one in the bottom of the Mall of America. Imagine that.
Under the mall. So what do we need here? What do we want to come into Erie to attract more people? We're all about tourism now, right?
Yeah.
Because we really don't have like a lot of
I think
industry.
we got a lot of the key elements in place.
Yeah. What are we missing?
If we're missing anything, and I think we can do it on the Bayfront, which is
Theaters downtown.
Theaters downtown.
Remember? You don't remember, but we in Cas, how many shows did they have downtown at one time?
yeah. Well, you're not going to
5,
get
6.
you see movie theaters are never coming back probably.
Really?
No, they've kind of gotten their head. No matter where you go in this country, it's very rare to see a movie theater in a downtown location. They have gone to the malls. They have gone to the
Yeah.
and that's not to say it's impossible.
I think it's possible because I just went to a movie theater in Ohio where they took out all the crappy seating, and instead of having all these little seats next to each other, they put in full-size recliners. So you're cutting down on a lot of the people that can attend at one time, but when you go to this theater, it's better than being at home. You could recline in a leather-like recliner, and you have big areas to hold your food and your drinks, and you can see the screen because all of the seats go down, and you don't get blocked by anybody. And I would go to, if we had a theater like that here in Erie, I would go to the theater every
What's
day.
the difference between now? I read about this while
cheap, too.
I was on the airplane.
Yeah.
What is the difference between those recliners and the ones we got in Erie? They're more comfortable. Is that it?
They are like a leather chair.
Oh, they're not the
recliner.
tilt back
No,
ones.
you can actually put your legs up. There's a button on them, and you just tilt back, and your legs go up, and it's like laying back in a recliner.
Well, the new
at home.
theory is
If
that.
we had a theater like that, I would seriously be there a lot.
Well, the other theory is the one where they put food now.
What's that?
You bring a lot of people downtown then, and then they go to eat and go to afterward. or
Exactly.
The problem with these theaters are, and they'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the new ones are also where you can buy cuisine food like.
Oh yeah. They had everything. I mean, you
Theater.
could get hamburgers and hot dogs and.
But here's the problem with
Pasta.
these. I was asking a developer now.
Yeah.
I said, I want to ask you a question. And I said, why can't we get XYZ restaurant in Erie?
Yeah.
Okay. And I already assumed it would have to go up on Peach Street. because and he kind of told me that's the mindset. That's the new marketing, okay? So he said, well, you need 250,000 people to draw this restaurant. I
Wow.
said, okay. Now, what did I tell you the population of Erie County was?
What'd you say? It was like 280?
Right.
Yeah.
I said, well, we got 280. To which, no.
No.
I said, what do you mean, no? He says, no. He said, here's the restaurant,
Yeah.
and they take a compass or whatever, and they draw a circle. I said, well, how big is that circle? He said, now there you asked the right question. He says, in that circle has to be 250,000 people.
Okay.
I said, well, he said,
How big is
that circle is just a little bigger than Erie and Mill Creek.
Oh, please.
So, and Erie and Mill Creek have about 160 between them. So you're 90,000 shy. And I go, you mean they would say no? And he goes, that's their mindset.
Yeah.
If you want to buy into it, you have to talk them into,
Yeah.
why you can. It's like the argument about Cabela's was going to come here, right?
Right.
But you weren't going to get a full Cabela's. You were going to get a Cabela's outpost,
Yeah.
right? It's like a Marriott. We don't get a Marriott hotel. We get a Courtyard by Marriott.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a difference and I'll tell you, it's the same thing in Allentown. Allentown, because of their population,
Yeah.
they get a Carrabba's and an Olive Garden, and we get an Olive Garden, no
Yeah.
Carrabba's.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and if you look at, they will get more upscale restaurants because they think they can make it, right?
Yeah.
This is the same argument with the movie theater, and I've seen it in a couple towns where these little towns save their movie theaters, and probably the city underwrites them, or But Buffalo one time tried to get a theater back into downtown Buffalo, and they did it. And they told the story in the Buffalo News how they got it.
Yeah.
It took a unique set of arguments. Now, could we do that? Yeah, we could. Now, Pittsburgh has one, basically, I think it's still in the city. If you go on what they call Riverside, the old steel mill, I think there's a theater there, a big one. And I think that's in the city limits. I do believe it is. It might not be.
Yeah.
But this is why when you ask, what do we need? I think we need a point of destination, not Peach Street.
Yeah.
So if you can get people to come downtown, okay, and hit like GA, like if you go to San Diego, they got, and I'm not saying we're in the same category. You go to Chicago, Navy Pier, San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf, San Diego, Gaslamp Quarter, okay, Wilmington, Delaware, the Riverwalk, okay. Toledo used to have Portside. Even in Minneapolis, they got along the river. They got the Upper Mississippi. They got to develop the old beer and flour mills. They turned them into things. That's what we need. Water is our number one asset. Okay.
Yeah.
People love looking at water. People love staying in those hotels down there, and they'll love Nick Scott, and they'll love the convention center one.
Yeah.
People, when they came here, they loved it, right? We have to, if we put stuff down there that the average citizen Erie would like,
Yeah.
would you like to be able to walk along the waterfront, grab some candied peanuts or some
Yeah.
popcorn?
Yeah.
Maybe go to a restaurant if you had, if you're capable, whatever. A movie theater would be great if we could talk them into it, but we need a consensus, a plan. We need to maybe, rub a little grease on their foreheads, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Tax wise or whatever. I think it would be great. I think in Erie we have a lot of things all over the place. We got people. You got athletics out there. You got the zoo. You got the theaters.
Yeah.
And think about how some people don't like it, but when the summer comes and we got all these events downtown, they're all coming here.
Yeah.
Now, if we can build off that, not necessarily have more bars, but more restaurants, more retail,
Yeah.
little specialty stores.
Yeah.
Maybe a little area where you could walk along, a farmer's market. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Every town I've been in on the east side of the state, all have these nice farmers markets. That, I think, along with the taxes they would bring,
Yeah.
and, think about people going down there as a point of, walking around, having a good time.
Right.
That's why I would have loved to have seen the ballpark down there, but it didn't happen,
Yeah.
But I think, all things being said, if we do that, you got lake rides down there, maybe, you can there's a multitude of stuff to do. But in Erie, I don't think we have one location. We have little things that draw, but we don't have like if you go to Chicago, you're going to go to Navy Pier. You're going to do this. That's what we don't have.
So let's take the old IP plant and turn that into something.
That would have been great with the casino. That would have been the casino with a link like they were talking about. Now it might have been pie in the sky.
Yeah.
They were talking about a monorail link to the waterfront site.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at those things because they can happen.
So can we invite in another casino? Can we ask somebody else? Say, hey, we have.
I don't think you're going to get another casino.
In Atlantic City, they're shutting down a lot of big ones.
I just mentioned that that we shut down. They just shut down Trump Plaza. They're getting ready.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I mean, casinos would have been, I think the one they envisioned in Erie would have been, they talked about an arena, a little arena, IMAX theater.
Yeah.
There would have been more stuff going on there.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
It was like what they call a point of destination. That's what we need.
The casino that I went to in Alabama had a bowling alley, it had a movie theater, it had a couple of nice restaurants in it. Oh, and it had a casino. It was perfect. You could go there and just hang out.
The one in Bethlehem, I hate to pick on it.
Yeah.
I've seen the Valley Forge, I've seen a couple of the other ones. But the one in Bethlehem, that one has a hotel attached, a convention center.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 2-story mall with about 30 or 40 stores that are kind of upscale.
Yeah.
It's still nice.
Yeah.
And has 3 Emerald Lagasse restaurants. The only ones on the northeast part of the country.
Wow.
You ever been to New York City?
Yeah, a couple times.
You ever hear of the Carnegie Deli?
Mm-hmm.
They got a Carnegie Deli there, too.
I think I went there.
Yeah, they got a Carnegie Deli, 3 Emerald Lagasse restaurants, a bunch of other restaurants.
Yeah.
It's like, if you go there, it's a destination.
Right.
In Erie, the hotel's on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
There's no convention center, no mall attached to it. The mall's another exit down. And that's like you're talking about the one in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
That's what they envisioned for the Hammermill site, which would have been, I think that would have been great.
You guys would have had more money to spend. You wouldn't have to fighting where you
Oh.
get the money.
You would have you would have had no problems.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, the GAF site, now, what's going on there?
On what?
Oh, the GAF site down here. The
Why
GAF,
don't you want to come up here and sit?
I'm okay.
Okay. GAF site. The GAF site, they're still developing. That's not our project, so, they haven't that's not the city project, that is, that's a Port Authority and Convention Center working on that. And we will have input into that a little bit, but basically they're still, I talked to Councilman Brennan, and they're still working on their concept of what they want to do there. There's a lot of concepts. Now, if you want to look at the first piece of the project that actually is going to happen, when they build that new hotel that they're building, the Courtyard by Marriott, that's attached to the back end of the convention center, you knew about that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, the first piece that's going to be on the GAF site is going to be a parking ramp. So that piece, when that gets set there, is going to have to be how they design it, what they do with it. They're envisioning a couple.
What would be the height of that?
Huh?
What would be the height of that parking ramp?
The height? You'll probably need a variance, but I think it's going to be, I was at the meeting, I don't have any documents. I think 3 to 4 levels, probably.
Yeah, because you're putting everything along the water edge, and people come down, and you look, and you see these parking ramp, the hotel.
Well, they're going to shield that parking ramp, and that was one of the things they brought up about how they're going to cover it up so it doesn't look like you see cars.
Right.
But on the side facing the water, I do believe, now this is where they were talking about, there's going to be some retail establishments on the one side of that. And they want them like at least two of them on the one end. That's what you'll see. You won't see the parking ramp. Much like they're going to do with the McAllister project. They were going to cover it up. The parking to be interior. You're coming back, right?
No, I'm leaving forever.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, the GF is like a work in progress, and it'll be interesting what they come up with.
Well, you're on city council, how come the roads ain't being done?
Pardon?
Pavement, I don't see too much pavement going on.
No, we're going to have to.
Terrible.
They're at the end of the bond issue, so we're going to have to make some decisions.
You made that bond issue 2 years ago, what, 8.9 million?
But that doesn't take long to wipe out.
Well, I don't see too many roads, and like I said, it's bad out there.
Well, no, the money's been spent. That's not the problem.
How about the state now? They're gonna, you're gonna raise the taxes and everything on gas and whatever. Now, are we gonna get money from that? Let's start taking care of the pavement?
Well, the money we get from the state, a lot of it's liquid fuels. That goes to, years ago, they made a decision to pay the streetlights with it. Well, it's permissible. It's the old Erie adage, a horse apiece. Okay, you either put the electric in the general funds, or you put the roads in the general funds.
Like I said, the roads are terrible.
Well, I stay tuned, because I'm going to have a plan at the end of the year, which I'll bring up during budget sessions, what I think should happen. And I don't know how it'll be received, but I think, something long range has to be put into place so that, this was a bad winter, I understand that.
Yeah, but,
But I mean, even, you got to remember, like, a lot of the roads also in the city, they're bad are state highways.
oh yeah, 26th Street.
Right.
38th Street.
And, a lot of times, so it'll be interesting, but, that bond issue, that doesn't take long to spend a few $1 million a year.
Well, like I said, you buy new police cars, new fire chief car, new...
Well, I mean, the ones we did for the road, though, that's already, I mean, that money was earmarked a couple seasons ago, so, I mean, that's almost, we're done with that.
Like Davison from 38th Street down, okay? They put piping in there, sewer pipes and stuff, and they paved it. Now, who's supposed to fix that road?
What was that?
They put pipe down the middle of Davison from 38 down,
Yeah.
and they paved it, and it's terrible down there. Who's responsible, the water department or the streets department?
Who put the piping in?
The city, I think. I mean, probably the water authority.
Davidson, where was it? What area?
38 and Davison down,
Heading north?
yes, to the, the dead end there.
Okay, I'll find out who's in there. I'll take a ride on it first.
I said the streets are just terrible. I mean, we got to keep up to them, because the more you don't do them, the worse it's going to get. Next year it's going to be...
Well, the big argument was, when I came out of church, some of the people were mad because they think the east side got slighted this year.
No, I mean, the whole
But-
city. The whole city.
But I mean, there's a lot of problems out there. Like I say, hang in there. When budget time comes around, I'm going to make a comment.
I'll be here when you...
And I want to see what the public thinks, about this will be what I think is a long-range solution. Because one way or the other, you got to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be done one way or the other. There's no,
it's been, I say, 3 years now. There really ain't that much paving going on.
there's a lot more than you think. It doesn't, let me tell you, money, the cost of a road is astronomical. It doesn't take long to wipe out $1 million.
Oh, yeah, because of oil in it.
There's an old joke in St. Mary's, they call it the $1 million highway. Okay, and if you look back, that's what it cost them to build it. Okay, but those days are gone.
I don't know.
I mean, I forget what the cost of a foot of pavement is, or a mile. I can find out. But it doesn't take long, like, 8 million, 9 million, that doesn't.
That's peanuts. No, it's cheaper to job it out.
Pardon?
It's cheaper to pave it out or have our own people.
Well, we don't have the equipment, number one. when you talk about the immensity of some of these projects, okay, we don't have the manpower to sit there. I mean, you would have to, everything else stops. We do a couple roads and we do a good job at it, okay? But when you get into, some of the bigger projects, it only makes sense to farm it out to people that got the equipment and the manpower to do it. You can't have our guys tied up. First of all, we could never, with the manpower we got and the equipment, we could never handle all the problems in the summer. You're almost destined to farm it out. And if you watch the state, they do much the same thing.
Oh, the state's even worse.
Yeah, if you look at the bridges they're doing, all along I-80 and 376 and 79, those projects are all being done by, just so the public knows, we're talking to somebody in the audience.
Oh, there's someone out there.
Right.
Someone out there, hello.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, you're almost destined to have to do that. We don't have, I mean, our guys do a great job, but can they do a whole project? I doubt it.
And what happened to 8th?
Not the immensity of,
8th Street's a prime example. 2 years ago, they tried something new, and it didn't hold up. One season was done.
well, they tried some on East Avenue too, where they put what they call micro finishing, which is a fancy way of saying you put about half the coating down. But that's not a bad idea. If the road isn't really bad, okay, sometimes the light coating helps.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the people that suggested it, we were at the end of the season, we only had a little bit of money left, and they decided, hey, 5 minutes? Thanks, Mike. Let's try it. Let's try a mini project. If it doesn't work, it was a good effort.
Yeah.
And it did did it work? Well, there's mixed reviews. But yeah, long range, I mean, we got to tackle the road issue, but that's only one issue, Look around the Commonwealth, you got bridges and everything,
That 80's a very good highway. You've been on 80, right? They did a lot of work all the way down through Lock Haven and down through there.
Yep, there's 80, it was like, to go all the way to Allentown, it was like, you got at least 3 zones. But, look around here, they're still going at I-90.
I-90's a joke.
I drive
And
that so often.
I'm not gonna crack a joke, but when we were, I'm not gonna say how they were built either, but when we were in Germany, the Autobahn still exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna give them points on how they built the road, but I'm saying,
Oh, prison.
it was donated labor, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But, the problem is, I read stories about how when they built 90, they didn't do it right the first time.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're not doing it right the next time and the time after that, because that thing's been constantly under repair since I moved to Erie.
You got a road that's busy, you got terrible frost problems. Like
Yeah.
in Minnesota, it's amazing. You don't see as many road potholes
Yeah.
because it stays cold. See, we have these cycles where
Thaws and
thaws and, you got water laying in there and it pops it out, it freezes.
Yeah. Still, it seems weird that every time I'm going down 90, there's always something being fixed.
It does.
Like for the past 15 years.
And the warning. Well, getting back though, how about the new circle in Waterford, which is causing a lot of,
I haven't seen it. I haven't been down that way.
no, you don't want to go there.
how much do they pay for that? $1.5 million, $2 million?
I'm not sure, but a lot of businesses aren't happy because.
What is it? A roundabout?
Yeah.
I was not
It's
aware.
where, the 2 roads came in right outside of Waterford. 90
I'm gonna have to take it.
97
I'm
and-
gonna have to take a drive.
Well, you don't want to go down there now till they're done.
Yeah, it's a big mess there.
Oh wow.
But even in Erie, I'm, trying to go from my house downtown is like an accomplishment.
Yeah. Maybe we need a roundabout.
Take the bay front.
I'm going to have a contest.
Yeah.
Find Kaz a way to get to City Hall quick.
Give me a map. We'll figure it out.
Don't be surprised what's closed.
Yeah.
I drove all the way downtown, forgot they had the park closed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll be bringing the truck down
And I
tomorrow.
can't come down 7th Street because they got to close for Erie Insurance. So,
Take the Bayfront, come right down here.
then they got part of Parade Street closed because they're building that new gas station.
18th Street, 18th and Parade.
I don't know.
And sometimes you got the project with the bus company on Parade, so that's always,
Now, there's another, and what's that gonna cost, $90 million by the time they get done doing that completely?
but the MTA project?
$90 million.
Will more people ride the buses is the question.
Now they're gonna raise the rates, and now you look at buses, they're everywhere. Before, you seen a bus once in a great while, now they're back bumper to bumper, and there ain't nobody in them.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of money, I think.
I want to see, they ought to put pedal pubs downtown.
Pedal pubs.
Yeah.
What's that?
We're actually getting one on the peninsula. They're little things now, the ones that we envision are going to be, 3 people on each side and you pedal it and you have a guy steering it.
Oh, like a rickshaw?
Well, kind of, but it's in Minneapolis, they got them where you have a bartender in the middle.
Bartender?
Yeah, you have a guy riding it. You have 3 or 4 people on each side.
Yeah.
Pedaling or not pedaling. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, you got like you can bring your choice of beverage and rent it out for a couple hours and drive around Minneapolis.
You get a trace of the bartender you get?
Huh?
You get a trace of the bartender you get?
I'm not sure if they. I guess you can either provide. I think they leave it open whether you want to do it too. Yourself, but you have to have their own driver because obviously, after a few belts, you may not be. No, it works out well. I mean,
Yeah.
the trouble in Erie, and I think this is one thing I would like to see before the bump outs, was to create a road where you could have had like, don't laugh, little horse-drawn carriages or something, giving people rides around the park. They do in other towns.
I know, I've
Beavis
seen
Point
it.
has that.
Huh?
Beavis Point has a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
When you're all around there. Nice
Or
to
these
see.
little pedal pubs where you can rent them,
Well,
and you'll drive around the town and have a little party.
we had a business here in Erie called Erie Rickshaw. It was actually called Erie Rickshaw. And there was a
remember.
guy on a bike, and he would drive you
PUC shut them
around.
down, though.
They what?
Go in the back room. But no, there's no 1 minute.
They got shut down. Why?
I think it was the PUC that shut them down because they didn't have a license.
What's that?
Erie Rickshaw.
They had these kids drive. You know where you see that? You see that in,
Atlantic City.
no, where was I now? Oh, New Orleans. New Orleans, they got these people that make a living riding people around through the quarter
Yeah.
because it's easier to go on a bike than it is by
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
And they deliver packages too. These people make a little killing delivering packages because parking's at a premium. And I'm thinking, we had it here, I remember it, but I think either somebody complained. I won't say who. And the PUC got in on it because when you start hauling people, you got to come under their banner.
Yeah.
You got to have insurance and all that. And
Well, hey, you know what? We should go now. We should end on a
will
high
you
note.
come back?
No,
You don't think so?
never.
You come back next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, he gave us a 1 minute warning so he can.
Yep. It's been a minute. Play us out.
Well, we had one phone call. I think once you get known that it's back on the air again.
Well, thank God for you, sir, because you were like a bunch of phone calls. Awesome.
He actually called me. I was on the road, and I haven't got back to him yet. But I have this whole. I mean, there's like 40 phone calls in here. So I'm trying to. I'm going down each one individually.
You better clean your phone.
Yeah.
Taking nothing now.
You know how many times I got to clean that phone?
Once,
You have any idea?
once or twice a day.
Yeah, I hate
I can't clean my email fast enough.
Yeah.
Smartphones. What's smart about it? Clean yourself, right?
I have to physically clean it because it gets all thumbprinty.
Oh no,
Like,
yeah.
it prints all over the thing. I hate that.
That would be the one problem, but it's like, if you call this phone, it's like, your mailbox is exceeded. No kidding. It was exceeded 10 minutes into the day,
Very popular.
Oh, they
I
got
got to tell Mike to give me more mail room.
Mail room. All righty, sir. That's it.
So what do we say, adios or
Adios.
auf Wiedersehen?
Auf Wiedersehen and a Wiener Schnitzel, whatever.
Hey, have fun at the Roaring Shore.
I will. We're being played out right now.
Uh-oh.
You're done.
We're done. We are done.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.